Hey guys, I'm back. I know what you're thinking. Whoa, Mitch, you broke out the camera for this? This must be important. Yeah, that's right. My channel is now a vlogging channel, so stay tuned for daily vlogs every day, Monday through Thursday, from 4 to 5 p.m. No, I'm just joking. But, pretty much, I was on I'm sure you noticed, a hiatus for a little bit. And there's a number of different reasons for that, but one of the key reasons was I had to upgrade my computer. And I was getting it upgraded for Total War 3 Kingdoms. And as fate would have it, pretty much as soon as I start the upgrades, they announce it's been delayed. Again. Till, what is it, May? Which, to me, I am in that camp that tends to think that games being delayed generally are a good thing. However, there's always a caveat there where, you know, if they delay a game too long, it starts to be a sign of some very, very bad problems. But anyway, what I really want to talk about is, I want to talk about kind of the attitude towards this game right now. There's a lot of detractors for this game right now, and they all kind of fall within three camps of people. There's the first one, which is just the people who, they don't get it, right? They're not into the Three Kingdoms setting. They're not into Romance of the Three Kingdoms. They don't understand or appreciate what Romance of the Three Kingdoms is, or don't really care for it. They didn't grow up reading it. They aren't fans of things like Dynasty Warriors, all that kind of stuff. Or in the same kind of group are the people who really wanted a different setting for the new game. Stuff like, you know, I saw a lot of stuff pop up when they were getting ready to announce the next historical game was like Pike and Shot, the War of the Roses, the Total War Victoria, Medieval 3, you know. And it can't be helped at this point. Those people aren't going to change their minds, right? So, and that's not a bad thing by any means. It's just they're not into it, which is fine. You know, what are you going to do? You know, I was never really into Napoleon Total War. To this day, still have never played it. So, there you go. You know, they do them and I'll do me. Then there's the second camp of people who I like to call the Rome 2 cynics, right? And those are the people who got burned so bad by Rome 2's disastrous release that they've never really come around and made peace with the current Total War franchise and are just going to hate anything Creative Assembly does. And I use Rome 2 because that's kind of the big game that created a lot of these people, but some of them go way back, all the way to, you know, Empire, even further. I'm sure there's probably some people who hopped on that train from Medieval 2 to Rome 1, or Rome 1 to Medieval 2, or somewhere around there. I'm sure there's been people who have been part of this camp for a long time. Creative Assembly could literally give them a golden plate with the greatest game ever made on it, and they wouldn't be into it. And I was one of those people at one point. I didn't even really come back to Total War until Warhammer. You know, even then, I didn't even play Warhammer until, about a year and a half after it released. You know, let bygones be bygones, but what are you going to do, right? But there is a third camp of detractors for Three Kingdoms now, which I would say I'm personally a part of. And these are the people who are into the Three Kingdoms, generally are optimistic about new Total War titles, but they just can't help but feel that this game, it's not looking that hot for a number of different reasons. You know, it just looks unpolished, unfinished, all that kind of stuff, right? So you got terrible looking AI, you got devs showcasing and live streaming old builds. It was getting to the point where we were, like 3 weeks away and we still didn't even have, requirements yet? Like, to me, that says this game is nowhere close to being finished or optimized. Otherwise, we would know exactly what kind of requirements it would at least need to run smoothly. So, and that's kind of tough. It's a tough pill to swallow, right? That this game that you've been excited for quite a while. Hell, technically, you've been excited for it since before it was announced, in my case. Right? I've wanted a Total War 3 Kingdoms game since, all the way back when I probably played Rome, probably even before Rome 1, probably when I was still playing Medieval 1. Because that was right around the same time I was getting really, really into Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and I was thinking how awesome it would be to have a Three Kingdoms Total War game, right? One of the reasons I think that this delay is kind of a good thing is the official reason they gave as an excuse for it is they're going to polish it, right? So that theoretically means they're going to fine-tune the AI and they're going to, fix up and address a lot of the concerns that people have been, saying. And I'm pretty sure almost anybody can see from all the footage we've seen that while the game looks great and fantastic from the campaign side of things, it's really the battles that seem to need a lot of polish. So hopefully they stay true to that commitment. Now, the tough thing about with games delaying themselves, and what I like to call the cycle of indefinite delay, I noticed there's a lot of games that have been kind of following this pattern in recent years. And how the pattern pretty much goes is they'll announce the game and it's a surprise, and all of a sudden it's coming out sometime later that year. And then later, as the year progresses, there's no way in hell they're going to get that game out in time. So they delay it till next year. And then, next year comes around, we're getting closer and closer to release date, and still, news on the game has been either lacking or subpar. In some cases, you get games where, there's literally no information going around, only to find out that, we gotta delay it again. And then, it gets delayed again. And again. And it gets to the point where it's 2 years since the game was announced before it came out, right? So, one example I like to use for something like that is the South Park RPG, The Stick of Truth, right? I love The Stick of Truth. That was one of my top games of that year. I absolutely loved it. But the Fractured But Whole, the sequel, they had announced, and they kept delaying it, and delaying it, and delaying it. And the longer it went with it being delayed, the more I got distracted, the more I just lost interest. I still have yet to even play it. I had it pre-ordered at one point, and I got the Stick of Truth for free on the PlayStation 4. They had that whole fiasco where they canceled everybody's pre-order because that's how much they had to delay it. Long story short, I still have the Stick of Truth for free. I don't know if that was supposed to happen and if I just admitted to something really bad, but who cares? Anyway, point of that story is, I don't want to see the same thing happen to this game, right? So I do want it to come out eventually at some point, but who the hell knows when that's gonna be? Now, there's a video I saw by Arc Warhammer, that Warhammer guy, that's his name now, that Warhammer guy, where he speculates that the delay here has less to do with them actually fixing up and polishing the game, and more to do with getting the game ready for Chinese censorship laws and the Chinese market. To which I say, there's probably some grains of truth in there somewhere, but at the same time, I think it's a lot of fear-mongering, so to speak, in the sense of, I'm willing to give Creative Assembly some good faith here and say that they're genuinely looking to fix up and polish the game. But at the same time, I can see where guys like him might be coming from, because let's face it, Creative Assembly doesn't exactly have the best track record in game polish recently. Ever since Rome 2. I don't know what it was with Rome 2. Although, I guess you could say It goes all the way back to Empire, because come to think of it, Empire wasn't exactly a well-polished game upon release, at least. I know Empire is looked at pretty fondly now, but when Empire first came out, that was also kind of pretty rough. It wasn't nearly as rough as Rome 2, though. You know, eventually they went back to Rome 2, and they fixed it up, and they gave everybody, what is it, the Emperor Imperial Alpha 3 EX Deluxe Arcade Edition of the game, or something like that? I don't know, I honestly have not played Rome 2 since it was released. That's how much I hate Rome 2. I don't care if you like Rome 2. If you like Rome 2, I'm jealous of you, because I really, really wanted to like Rome 2. The Warhammer games have been a little different, but they've also treated it with a different kind of level of respect and cohesion, I guess, because they are working with somebody else's license. So there's kind of a different level of responsibility, because at that point you're not really even making your own game. I mean, you are, but you're more making a game for someone else that's also your game, right? So that's kind of why the Warhammer games have been much more polished, at least in comparison. Although you do have instances like, I know Warhammer 2 is not exactly the most optimized game, in the sense that it'll run like really, really slow if you aren't running that thing on a solid state, right? And then the latest release, Thrones of Britannia. Now, I'm in the minority here, because I'm pretty sure at this point I'm one of like 5 people on the planet who actually like Thrones of Britannia. But Thrones of Britannia ran decently well at release. There wasn't a lot of hiccups, but they kind of did just repurpose Attila and use that as the base for it. So, Three Kingdoms being a brand new Total War that's not really, it's using the same engine, but it's not really repurposing any of the assets or anything. And also, they're not using somebody else's license, because the Three Kingdoms period has been in the public domain for almost 1,000 years now. Well, technically, since it's based on a true story, right, it's always been in the public domain. But even Romance of the Three Kingdoms, it's not like there's any copyright on that. I mean, Koei does have kind of a monopoly on it, in the sense that they're the only ones who seem to make Three Kingdoms games these days. Which is kind of why I was looking forward to this game, because finally somebody was going to at least give Koei a run for their money, so to speak. Alas, it seems like we're at an impasse here. So, I'm not here to tell you whether you should pre-order the game, or to cancel your pre-order, or anything like that. Chances are, you're an adult with your own money, you can make your own decisions. That's not my job to make that decision for you and to tell you what to do. What I am going to tell you is, I'm keeping my pre-order, partly because I want to, and partly because, well, I'm kind of committed to it now, right? I've been covering this game since January of last year on my channel. It's helped my channel grow significantly, and I still plan on playing it and giving it a very fair and honest review. At the same time, I just can't help but admit that a lot of the hype that I had is just kind of... I guess the point I'm trying to make here is, I think we need to keep our expectations in check on this one. Probably just a little bit, huh? It's strange. Like, if we fell for the hype, is it truly our fault, or were we misled? And that's assuming, of course, that the game turns out to be not that great, right? There's always the chance that this game can come out and be absolutely bloody fantastic, and just kick everything's ass and be the best Three Kingdoms game we've ever had. I would love that. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think that's gonna be the case, but a boy can dream, right? I got my computer back, I'm also ending my hiatus, and I'm gonna go back to making some videos on a semi-regular basis, right? I kind of stopped covering some of the Three Kingdoms Total War stuff, mainly because, well, I was already behind and they just kept releasing more and more stuff, and I was having trouble keeping up. And also, a lot of the other Total War guys that make videos, Milk and Cookies and Republic of Plays and all those guys, right? You know, they were covering this game, and listen, I'll be honest, they were doing a way better job than what I could ever do, because they've been a part of this community for a very long time, right? An active part, so to speak, not a passive part like me, who's just started to have become active recently. Now, one other thing that I want to talk about with Three Kingdoms Total War is the whole situation with Dong Zhuo as a playable warlord, which, you know, there was a lot of uproar about, right? And people were thinking like, oh, was he originally planned and then did he get scrapped or this and that? Is he going to be DLC? And it turns out that he's in the game. And we have to unlock him like the good old days, right? So that's pretty cool. I'm down for that. Now, let me hit you with a conspiracy theory here. And bear in mind, it's a conspiracy theory. It's not proven, and it'll probably never be able to be proven. But what if I was to speculate that Dong Zhuo was originally entailed to be DLC? And because of so much of the backlash kind of against, you know, he should be in the game, he should be in the base game, he's very important, he should be playable, this and that they caved on that one and actually decided to make him in the base game. And maybe that could have something to do with the delay. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I think it's possible. I don't think it's necessarily 100% probable, but I think it's possible. And it could be one of many factors that have led to the delay. So another reason for my hiatus was I also had a really, really nagging cough that just would not go away, which made it kind of difficult to record for long periods of time. In fact, if you see some, it still hasn't completely gone away, so if you see some jump cuts here or there in this, half of them are me messing up, and half of them are me cutting out my annoying cough, right? The good thing is, it's pretty much gone away to the point where I won't have to be chopping up everything every 5 seconds to cut out coughs. So I can finally get back to doing what I wanted to do, which is, you know, recording some Let's Plays and getting footage together to make videos and stuff like that. That's why I haven't really gotten a chance to start on my playthroughs of MK9 and MKX. Speaking of MK, just a little bit about Mortal Kombat 11. I can't help but feel that we're going to see the same thing with Mortal Kombat 11 that we've seen with so many games lately, which is the indefinite cycle of delay, which, you know, they announced this game as a surprise. Surprise! Mortal Kombat 11 is coming out in 5 months, and then it's going to turn out, as we get closer and closer, that they want to hold it back for a couple of months. I want to be wrong. I think I might be wrong on this one. I really hope I am, but we'll see. Quick notes. Cabal looks good. Kano looks like Kano. I think there was a combat cast while I'm making this video, too. I guess I missed that one. In addition to MK11 and MKX, one thing I had planned for when Three Kingdoms came out, and I was actually getting concerned because I was like, oh great, now I'm not even going to be able to do it, because the game's coming out in March, and it's already halfway through February, and I'm still unable to record successfully. But now that it's pushed back till May, I got plenty of time, so no skin off my bones, right? So one thing I was planning on doing was I thought it'd be fun if we checked out some other Three Kingdoms video games, and I was going to make a video on them, and I was going to do some playthroughs of some of them. I got one right here. This is called Three Kingdoms Fate of the Dragon, 2001, I think. It's a strategy game. It's an RTS. From everything, I've never played it. From everything I've seen about it, it looks like kind of a cross between Age of Empires 2 and Seven Kingdoms. So we're going to check out that. I want to try to avoid the Koei games for this, just because everybody knows the Koei games, right? So other games I got on that list, I'm planning on playing through Warriors of Fate, which is the Capcom beat-em-up from the arcades. Destiny of an Emperor, which is an NES RPG, kind of like Final Fantasy, so that should be interesting. Then there's two fighting games, Sanguo Fighters 1 and 2, which I plan on checking out. I'm trying to do like one game of each genre. So if you know any other Three Kingdoms games that hit like a genre I haven't mentioned, because so far I got a strategy game, I got a fighting game, I got an RPG, and I got a beat 'em up, right? I'm looking for other suggestions. If you have any other suggestions, put them down below. And like I said, I'm trying to avoid the Koei games, mainly because, like I said, everybody knows the Koei games. Everybody knows Dynasty Warriors. Everybody knows Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Not as many people know, but still fairly well known is stuff like Dynasty Tactics and even Kessen, right? So I'm trying to avoid it. Same thing with Warriors Orochi too, none of that. And I'm looking for games that are mostly Three Kingdoms based. So stuff like, oh, Guan Yu's and Smite, no, that doesn't count. It's cool, but that's not what I'm looking for. Anyway, so I just wanted to let you guys know what I've been up to, and give you kind of an announcement since I've been dead silent for like a month and a half. So, hopefully this video came out well. This is kind of my first time trying something, and my light just died. Well, I guess this is where we end it.